Yeah. What's going on? It's your boy Quan John, and we got Miss Portia. Hey, what up, Portia?
Hi.
This is Motivational Motors, where we only speak to inspirational people en route to prosperity. You know what I mean? We have a very, very inspirational guy right here. Portia, bring my man in.
It's a very close friend of mine, actor, author, film editor, Wade F. Wilson. Most of y'all know him as Michael in Dear White People. Some people might know him in the Spike Lee movie, Chirac. He's all over the place. He's doing big things. Wade, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good looking, Wade. We're very grateful for having you, brother, and our presence right. So you know what? Let's basically start from the beginning, bro. You know what intrigued you to become a creative and an actor?
What intrigued me to become a creative and an actor? Really, because I would say what intrigues me the most is like the human condition, right? The relationships between people and our interactions between us and the world around us. Our consciousness is just such a beautiful thing, and mainly I think art is a direct gateway, a direct pathway into that. And the more that we delve into the art, the more that we explore art, the more I think that consciousness reveals itself. And because there's so many different types of us, it reveals itself in just so many different remarkable ways, all valid and all very poignant. And so that in art is, I've always been drawn to that enigma about it ever since I was little.
Okay.
The first time that I ever got on stage, I was 9 years old, and I remember that was it for me, So yeah.
Nice.
You know what? It's interesting that you say that age of 9, because I'm actually a counselor in the college school system, and I tell students, I say, you know what, and when they, because at 19, 20, and 21 and 22, in my opinion, I think you are supposed to be oblivious to who you are and who you want to become. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree with that.
Right? I tell them to think back into that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old. Who was that? Because whoever that person was at 5 through 10, that's who you are supposed to be in life as an adult. And I'm a firm believer that sometimes we got to, put our adulthood to the side and kind of relive our childhood to become, the greatest beings we should be.
Yo, that's actually very powerful that you say that, because I went through, I would say, the transition from in that state that you're talking about. I think it was, how old was I? It was after I turned 30. I was either 30 or 31. But there was like this really powerful moment. I was watching Dragon Ball Z. This is real talk. I was watching the new series of Dragon Ball Z, and it's this one episode where Goku finally becomes like he reaches his final, or his like newest state, which is like Ultra Instinct, the ability to move without thinking. It's like his best form. He's perfect in that form. And I remember seeing that, and I started breaking down crying. I was crying, and then I was having a talk with my girlfriend, and I like started breaking down because she was asking me like, why is that making you cry so much? Right. And I was like, you know what? Because it's like, I feel like right now I'm in this place where I'm not living up to my like truest potential. And I kept going down that line. I was like, what is that? What is keeping me from living to my truest potential? And the moment that I broke down, I'm like 30, 31. The moment that I broke down is I realized that I was scared and I was worried that I wasn't making my childhood self happy. Gotcha. I was asking myself that if I was that little boy looking at myself today, would I be proud of who I am and the things I've done, and all that stuff? And I realized like I didn't know, like I couldn't answer that question. Right. And it wasn't until I was able to answer that question that I was able to kind of like move forward in my life. But at that present time, I was stuck because I was like, am I living up to the potential that my childhood self knew of, like I knew that of me, or the vision that I had of me when I was that young. Right. And so what you just said is very powerful. And I went through that very thing. So that's 100% true.
Very interesting.
Oh,
Portia?
like, no, I'm feeling like, you know what I mean? For me, I was always the type of kid that wanted to get into everything. At one point, I wanted to be a lawyer. One point, I wanted to be a politician. One point, I wanted to be an actor. One point, I wanted to be a singer or a teacher. I was all over the place with what I wanted to do. But as a kid, my parents always told me, well, I'm the type of person that can do anything. And here I am, a jack of all trades, doing just about everything.
Wow.
Anything I can get my hands on, I'm doing. So it's like, like at 20, 21, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm so glad I didn't go to college right out of high school. That would have just been a waste of money and a waste of time. Because at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I was at a loss. And now here I am, very comfortable in my career, my position, and my life. And I'm just looking at everything that I'm doing. And it's like, oh, well, there it is. That's exactly what I was supposed to be doing at like 9 years old, where I was running all over the place, wanting to do everything. So that's
now.
What's up.
Way that now you said you started questioning yourself at 30 and 31. What was the reasoning behind your questioning? Was it that you felt like you hadn't appeared in enough films, you hadn't made enough money, you hadn't exposed yourself to the to society? Why did you start questioning yourself at that point? You know what I mean? What was pertinent about that point in your life that you had these qualms?
Yeah, man, that it was all of the above, everything that you just listed and more. And really what it stems back to is I was at a place where I had achieved things in my career and as a person, as an adult, that most people, they don't, and the weirdest part about all of it, and what really made me ask the questions or question everything, is because here I was in the position that I was in, living the life that I was living, and I was still very unhappy. I was still very unsatisfied. Right. And I had to ask the question, why? Why am I so unsatisfied? Why am I so angry? And why am I feeling all of this depression and everything? And then I started realizing that it's because I was, so going back to the childhood thing, right? My childhood self, when I was acting and performing and doing art, and this was like the aha that I had. The reason why I was doing it is because I loved to do it. When I got on stage, it was solely because I loved to perform. I loved the intricacies of getting into characters and, all that fun stuff. But then as an adult, I moved away from that. The important thing became, how much money am I making? How many shows am I booking? What am I doing? How are people perceiving me? Am I on a trajectory to become famous? Like all of this egotistical stuff, right? My ego started taking control of who I was and pushing my childhood self to the side. And I didn't realize that. And so it took a lot of me to realize, or to admit to myself, that man, like, I'm not becoming an actor or writing these books because I want to create or do the art anymore. I'm doing it just because I want to make money and bang a lot of women and just like live that high life. And then once I did admit that to myself, I had to say, well, shoot, like, do I still want to keep doing this? Like, if I do, like, how am I going to move? What am I going to do next? And so I entered into the next stage, which was the breaking down of who I was, like, entirely. I had to break me down. And I would say that I'm still kind of in the rebuilding phase, but yeah, it was really that it was the unhappiness and being like, man, like, what is wrong? Because I know I can't stay like this for forever, So.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know. What do you say to something like that? Because you know how many people are dealing with, I mean, maybe it's not the same type of thing because, depending on your career or whatever, but that same type of, I don't know what you would call it, maybe mental instability or emotional instability that causes those thoughts, to cause that insecurity. But do you know how many people don't come out of that? Like you said,
vast majority.
it sounds like it only took you a few years in the grand scheme of things. It only took you a few years to not only define the problem, but figure out a solution and then actually be on the trajectory to create that solution. So it's like, it's just crazy that you were able to do that. So many people are dealing with that and they never find the solution. They never are able to like sit down with themselves and really break themselves down and figure out how to fix it. Who does that? Like that's that's
this guy.
That guy. Like seriously, like where do you come from? Who does that? Who is able to do something like that? So that's just crazy.
Well, the funny thing is, and like you said earlier, like God works in mysterious ways. And I think the only reason why I've been able to do that and I consistently do it is because, and I'm not saying that this is the only path to it, but I think that it was a tool that was in my arsenal. And because I'm obsessed with it, which is acting itself, right? Like when I take on characters, when I have to become these different energies, that's all I'm doing, right? It's a breakdown of who these people are. Why are they the way that they are? What are their past, present, and futures? What got them to this? Like all of that stuff. And in my personal life, because acting is kind of like a therapy for me.
Absolutely.
I'm always able to look at myself kind of like a character in a film. And I go, all right, well, this is the current scenario. This is the scene. Like, why? What is happening? Like, I have to be truthful to myself in the moment and the choices that I'm making for the scene, because that's what drives the scene. That's what's going to make the next moment what it's going to be, whether it's impactful in a happy way or impactful in a very sad way. And I was just in a moment where it's like, I've had enough of the drama and I want like a moment of levity. I want to see the light. I want to see the joy. So what is it going to take for me to get there? And it was the breaking down of the character that I was playing in the moment to have that realization.
So do you that Portia, did you have something to say? Sorry.
No, I was saying that was crazy. Go ahead.
Do you believe that I'm going to piggyback on that. Do you believe that you've been typecast as an actor, or do you feel like you typecast yourself? Do you gravitate to specific roles, or do you think the industry typecast you as the actor?
Speaking personally, I think the industry at the moment wants to typecast me as an actor, but I myself, I know that I'm capable of doing some really deep stuff, which it covers the gambit. I can do anything if I'm given the time and the commitment and the tools to really get into it. Now, unfortunately, the industry is in this place where they'll give you an audition and expect you to have it turned around within a few days, which in most cases, that's you're kind of like, yeah, I mean, the person who typically is going to book it in that case is going to be the person who can just naturally sit in it. Like I'm gonna come as I am, and I'm perfect for the role. Because some things, like for instance, I've really actually wanted to. Most people don't, especially Black men, but I've wanted to play like a thug role, and most people run from that. But the reason why I want to do that is because that's not my not my natural essence. That's not the energy that I so to be able to like sit in that and present it in a realistic way where someone would be like, damn, like is Wade like really like what? Oh, that would be so cool. But it's really hard for me to book a role like that because I'm not naturally that way. Like I would really have to take time to really hone in on that and become that. So it's hard to book those, but I would love to play something like that because it's so opposite to me. And
shows
same thing. Yeah. So same thing with a lot of stuff. But I'm not afraid to go there, right? I want to be given a role that is like almost my antithesis or something that I'm afraid of, and I want to do it. I want to do the thing that scares me. That's what I want to do.
Sounds good, man. Well, have I'm sorry, Portia. Were you formally trained, or you're just naturally gifted at what you do?
I definitely have like formal training. Like I
Right.
said, I've been doing it since I was like 9. When I was 9 and performing, it was through in the Bay Area. It was a local theater called Young Actors Workshop. So I've been like training and in it for like for more than 20 years now.
Gotcha.
But I would say like I definitely had the natural knack for it because my mom would tell me all the time. And I mean, a lot of kids do this, but you know, the role playing as a kid, right?
Yeah.
I would be in the backyard by myself,
Really?
picking up broomsticks and pretending that there were guns and I'm a soldier in World War II, or you know, I'd be in the garage jumping on my mom's car pretending I was like an action hero all by myself. She would say I was doing that all the time. Yeah, my mom was real chill.
Right, you got.
And I was having fun, so she was having fun.
I got my ass beat.
I know, right? I wish. Nah, that's not happening.
But you know what? It paid off though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I, you know, give it up to my mom. She
Right.
said that I had a natural want for performance.
Right.
So I think it ultimately was a combination of both, and it all just was because when my elementary school teacher, the first show that I ever did, it was a performance about the president, and of course, like I'm one of the only Black students in the play.
Right.
So what she did is instead of me reading for Lincoln or playing Lincoln, she had me be Amos the Mouse, which was the mouse in Abe Lincoln's log cabin. Wow. So I was like just kind of describing what Abe Lincoln was like. And I remember doing that performance, and at the end of it, I was just like, man, like I love this. And I think she saw that in me, and she was the first person to go to my parents and say, like, you need to put him in theater or something. Right. And that was the start of everything.
Wow.
Yeah. I was having that conversation with my wife. I don't mean to cut you off again, Portia. I know I said that twice.
Whatever. Don't apologize. Let's go.
All right, real quick. I was just telling my wife that the other day. I think it's the parents' duty to recognize what their child's thing is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And after they've recognized it, to encourage it, whatever that may be, is our duty. I'm not saying the parents that don't recognize it are failures. You know what I mean? But I
it's
think
a disservice.
It's a disservice thing. You know what I mean? It you know, and like it doesn't take the parent that's not paying. It doesn't mean that you're not paying attention to your child, because it might be the thing that's farthest from your thought processes. I mean, like I said before, I just found out that my daughter was a great editor. You know what? It took me and Portia coming together and starting this Motivation Motors podcast for me to recognize that my daughter has the knack for digital artistry. Wow. You understand? I mean, This is what she edits our stuff, man. You know what I mean? And I really think this is going to be something that's going to pave the way up to her success. You know what I mean? And I just feel so fortunate. Actually, Portia, you played a part in it. So when Ava get that first check, you get 10%. All right.
Nice.